Good morning, Copers. Good morning. Do you believe in God? It is Chick Rock Week. I told you guys this was coming. I told you last week that we're doing Chick Rock. And I'll remind you that if you don't like the music, you can kindly keep that opinion to yourself. I didn't ask. Didn't ask, don't care.
And user 87 cent $5 on Power Chat. GM Copers, Kevin Deanna and Jeremy Mackenzie did a great identity politics last week. Check it out if you can.
That's funny because I had those two on the progress report together at the same time. And I love Jeremy Mackenzie. Known that guy for a long time, big fan. But he can talk, you know what I mean? And I asked him about his legal trouble and I was kind of like wanted like, you know, a 2-minute summary, and he talked about it for like 30 minutes. And at the end I was like, damn. And then I kind of felt like I didn't get enough from Kevin Deanna. So I want to get Kevin Deanna back on the show in season 3 for sure. But yeah, I will check that out if I remember to. That sounds good. How are you guys doing? We are gonna be going over the Candace Owens debate again. I know a lot of people have already done this, and you're probably bored and you want to move on. I feel like there needs to be some fact checks on the official record here because people are insane, and there's a huge divide on the right wing now between you either live in conspiracy land where you don't need proof of anything to know what obviously happened, or you have higher standards for what would convince you, in which case everybody calls you a shill and a sellout and says stupid shit like trust the science, goy, and shit like that. Because I had a couple tweets. I don't know who Matt Ma is. Paul Town. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. The Groypers are weird. I had brought it up to Beardson at one point, and he didn't reply. And same with Wurzelroot, who I kind of like. Like, I would actually like to have Wurzelroot because he is funny. And that's like, I really like that in a guest, but I invited him and he just did not reply. No replies. So, you know, I'm not going to fucking bust my balls trying to get these guys on the show if they don't want to do it. Anyway, let's get into it. I don't need to justify myself. Lindsay Clancy admitted to killing her 3 kids. Her fans have already raised $715,000 in donations. Now, I have not been following this story very closely, but I just wanted to touch on it. Real quick because I've noticed a lot of overlap.
Ked's Dead sent $3 on Power Chat. Ked's take: Andrew is correct, but I think Spencer was somewhat of a precursor to a fatal flaw in Andrew's debate strategy. He is an unlikable bundle of sticks, as Spencer pointed out. That's why he lost.
Yeah, look, there's 2 different things here, and I'm going to tell you what you're allowed to think and what you're not allowed to think, okay? You're allowed to think Andrew Wilson lost the debate. You're allowed to have that opinion. You're not allowed to think that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk. Strong statement, I know, but we're gonna go over the evidence here, and I'm gonna obviously I'm being a little tongue in cheek. Like, you can think whatever you want, but if you think that Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk, you're wrong and you're retarded, right? So one is like a fact check of reality, like can you discern reality? And then the other one is like your opinion on somebody's debate performance. So you want to tell me Andrew lost the debate, whatever, that's your opinion. You want to tell me that Tyler Robinson didn't shoot Charlie Kirk? And it's like, okay, we're just going to go over why that's insane. Okay? Because it is. And it'll get shown at the trial. I promise you that I will be vindicated on what I'm saying right now. So anyway, this there's a lot of actually like crossover between people who think Tyler Robinson is innocent and people who think that Lindsay Clancy is innocent. And Lindsay Clancy is like admitting her guilt. Her defense team is admitting her guilt. Everybody like agrees that she's guilty, but there's a whole ass conspiracy theory around this case as well. And they've raised $830,000, which ironically, I guess will basically go to the husband. I mean, it says for Michael Musgrove right here, who I assume that's the husband. Again, I have not looked into this much at all. And what's funny about that is a lot of these people think the husband is actually guilty and killed the kids. So I'm going to try to look into this a bit more over this week and maybe we'll come back to it. But I just wanted to touch on the fact that this woman murdered her 3 children and people were like, here, have $1 million. It's basically, as far as I'm concerned, this is basically Carmelo Anthony all over again. GoFundMe typically would not allow you to give money to a murderer, but the money is going to the husband.
J Parabellum sent $5. How about Tyler Robinson was involved, but it was a patsy, and there is a cover-up of government involvement?
More defensible. If you're willing to grant that he was there at the college and that he got up on the roof with a gun and that he shot the gun, you're in more defensible territory. The problem is this is not what Candace at all are arguing. And I'm going to explain why. If I was going to shill the conspiracy, I would do a better job. And we'll get into that. I'll explain how. Before, I also wanted to cover this story real quick, though. This is Michigan State Senator Jeremy Moss saying that his political career is to support Israel.
Honestly, I would say that the entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel. You know, I don't think it's wrong to use America's point with Israel first. America is not our homeland. We have been victims of anti-Semitism here. Honestly, I would say that the entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel.
The entire purpose of my campaign is to make sure America continues to support Israel. This is a Democrat, by the way. They do this on both sides of the political aisle. And he says America's not our homeland. But if you talk about it's not even dual loyalty. It's not even dual. It's literally just like, I work for Israel and I'm here to subvert American politics for the benefit of Israel. So, you know, they tell you you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like you literally catch them on tape saying this shit. This was posted by the American Independence Project. America first. No foreign lobby should dictate U.S. policy. And yes, he is Jewish. Gay Jews, LGBTQ state legislators in Michigan. Gay Jews. Yes, he is a gay Jew. Okay, getting into the Candace Owens stuff. One of the reasons conspiracy theories are so popular and they make so much money is because you're selling people hopium, and people love hopium. I actually want to
At Dudeman141 sent $5 on your tube. Check out Phoebe Bridgers' new song Lost Boys for Voyage Week. I think it's the vibe you're going for.
I pretty much have my songs all picked out already, but I'll check it out. Phoebe Bridgers' Lost Boys. Okay. The day of the debate, I tweeted this as like a tongue-in-cheek thing because I looked at the poly market and I saw that it went down on the day of the debate. And so I was like posted, I'm like, breaking, Andrew Wilson got so obliterated in the debate that the poly market for a Tyler Robinson conviction is plummeting. This was like, it's kind of like satire. It's like I'm satirizing the people who push this sort of conspiracy slop. And what's funny is it did good numbers and got 7,000 likes. And I knew it would. I knew this would do good because there is such a huge audience who is just, they want this. Okay, if you watch me review the debate, you know this isn't what I think. But it was just sort of like a proof of concept. And I knew it would do good because if you can do this kind of thing where you create a funny narrative around a phenomenon, Twitter eats that up. But I have other tweets. I'll show you another tweet in a minute where I made prediction about the case and the facts of the case, and that didn't do numbers at all because it's grounded in reality. You look at the size of Candace Owens' audience, you look at who was watching the debate. She had like 250,000 people watching her live stream. Andrew Wilson had 30,000 people watching his live stream, right? She wins all the polls because there is more people. So I'm just hammering home the point that I would be better off pushing the conspiracy. And I would actually do a good job of that if I wanted to. If I just decided like, fuck it, I'm just going to sell this for the next 2 years, I'd have more followers, more money, all that stuff. And that's like objectively true. Bro, just do it and make the money. I mean, it's kind of late now. Well, actually, it's not that late. There's probably I'd say there's another year. I'd say this grift has another like good year before it falls apart. But no, it's not my style. It's not, my whole ethos for 10 years of doing this has been to like just try to be honest. Okay, then back to like the whole thing about hopium. If you remember with like QAnon, that we're going to drain the swamp. The storm is coming. Do you guys remember that? The storm is coming. QAnon led people along for like 2 years straight by the nose because they always said everything's about to change. We're about to like Donald Trump is like putting all the indictments in place and then he's going to like pull the trigger on Operation Drain the Swamp and like 600 bureaucrats are all going to get arrested and like tried for treason. And then you're going to be able to afford a house. And this like went on for years and it never materialized into anything. But this is one of the characteristics of these types of conspiracies, which is they keep promising you everything's about to change. We're about to release the Kraken. We're about to get the smoking gun that's going to change it all and take down the Illuminati. And it's been like that my whole life. It's been like that since I started getting into conspiracy stuff around 9/11 back in the day. But anyway, somebody put together, Milk Bar TV put together a compilation of Candace Owens telling her audience that they were close, that they were so close to just blowing the lid off the whole thing.
Getting close to something, keep going. And we are definitively getting closer to what took place on that day. And we are getting closer. I think we're close. We are definitively getting closer. We're getting close. We're getting low. Very close. We're inching ever closer. We are now, I believe, extremely close to solving this thing. As I inch closer and closer to discovering the truth, I've got a feeling about that. We're close. We're getting closer to something, and that something is pretty big. I just sense that we're getting close. I sense that we are getting very close, and we are getting closer, getting very close to something. We're getting closer because we are getting close. We are definitely getting closer, very close. We are very close. We are close. We are dangerously close to something. We are dead close to something. And I think every day we are inching closer to who killed Charlie Kirk. You know we're getting close. We're inching ever closer. We are inching closer, a little closer to solving the Charlie Kirk murder. And I'm getting very close. And we are getting very close. But I'm getting closer.
King Jewish Sauna Master sent $3. Catholics and orthobras are kind of trapped to believe whatever the Pope or ortho leaders say. Their leaders have endorsed multiculturalism even though the Bible does not. Also, there is nothing gay about two naked men discussing gunning in the sauna.
I'm not. Thank you. Thank you for the $3. I'm not doing the religious debates today. I got a dentist appointment I have to get to later. So
I'm getting real close. My prayers are with you, Candace.
I'm getting real close. I'm so close. Don't come.
We're close.
Sorry.
We are close.
Sorry.
And we're getting closer to the truth. We get closer. We are getting close.
Somebody in the chat was like, well, yeah, but this implies she's not getting more information. I mean, look, this is more just kind of like funny than I'm not saying this proves she's a grifter or whatever. But that is the grift. The grift is, I'm telling you, it's promising everything's about to change. And the point I'm making is nothing is about to change. You're not going to find a smoking gun. Tyler Robinson will be convicted of murdering Charlie Kirk, and then everybody's going to go on with their lives. You're not close to anything at all, except for another paycheck for Candace. That's the point. Which one is this? I got all these things. Oh, right. So this is kind of neither here nor there, but I remember when this happened. Candace came out and did an episode of her show where she said Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck from the front and the bullet stopped the neck. And her audience went insane. We talked about this briefly on the show at the time. Okay, Mr. Mensa. How about we bet money? I keep offering, this is what happens. People, they mock you and they say, okay, yeah, trust the science, goy, good goy. Okay, Mensa. And I'm like, well, I'm willing to bet money of everything I just predicted will come true. Are you willing to bet that it won't? Oh, you're not? You're not willing to put your money on it? You just want to talk shit, but you have no conviction. Got it. Give me a sec. I gotta mute this Telegram group because it's about to blow up. So Candace at one point, she goes, well, you're about to hear it. She says that Charlie Kirk got shot by a bullet from the front and the bullet did not go through. Her audience went insane. They were all in the chat. They're like, they got to her. What happened? Oh my God. And then she abandoned that and went back to talking about exploding microphones and shit.
Did stop the bullet without question. Okay. And this is going to dispel a lot of theories that are out there. And I'm telling you this 100%.
Right. In 45 years when the MK Ultra files are unredacted, then I give back the bet money.
Charlie Kirk was shot from the front and the bullet did not exit. And at least a fragment of the bullet was recovered from his neck. And I'm going to tell you exactly where it was recovered from. I have fact-checked this information from multiple sources now. I've actually been sitting on this for a little bit over a week. Right around here. So think about almost in line with your shoulder blade right in the center. Now, why is that helpful? Because it gives us a bullet trajectory, okay? Went in here where you saw that and it was stopped and a fragment was pulled.
Now you can go back and find this episode. He doesn't say in this tweet which episode it was, but you can go look at the comments and it was like full on mutiny from her audience. So when people talk about Is the real Nerd City a conspiratard? Is that where we're at now? What's even happening? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not supposed to answer phones on stream. My bad. I'm pretty sure that's my dentist again. What is happening? Is that my boy Nerd Siri? Nerd City calling me Fedslop? If you want to get caught up on why the Fedslop narrative doesn't make sense, the rundown takes 2 hours. Okay. I'm going to ignore that for now. We're going over what you have to believe in order to believe that Tyler Robinson. That's what we're going to do here, okay? And it's so compelling that I just can't take people seriously who don't agree. People who don't agree with what I'm about to say. Okay, real quick I got to give the devil his due. Jay Dyer tweeted out mass feminization is precisely why most people think Candace won, implying that Candace lost the debate. And I just wanted to hit that real quick because I had mentioned during the debate that Andrew Wilson had offered the Charlie Kirk debate to Jay Dyer, and Jay Dyer turned it down and said he was on the fence. And I speculate. I was like, I don't know why he's on the fence, but it could be because he's cultivated an audience of conspiratards who will get angry at him if he doesn't.
Kai Kish sent $3 on Power Chat. I bet 6 million shekels. Israel had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk.
Thank you. Thank you for the $3. So anyway, if he was afraid of pissing off the conspiracy people, he wouldn't tweet this. So that I never said he was, but I speculated that he might be, and this shows that he isn't. So I just wanted to hit that real quick. Jimmy Dore says that Candace's lawyers are shitty, Robinson's lawyers are shitty court-appointed lawyers. Robert Barnes says this is complete nonsense. Robinson's lawyers are some of the best criminal defense lawyers in the nation. Nestor has been Supreme Court chosen for evidentiary rules committees. Novak is a well-regarded LA criminal defense attorney. Burt is a San Francisco death penalty defense lawyer regarded as one of the best in the nation. Visser is a well-regarded local trial lawyer. And I asked Grok about that, and Grok said, yeah, that's true. Nestor has 30 years of experience. Michael Burt has 47 years. Widely regarded as one of the top death penalty lawyers. Involved in Lyle Menendez's first trial. Well regarded, et cetera, et cetera. So Robinson's lawyers are not like some like Saul Goodman guy who just sucks. Just for the record. Purge the Candace troops. I told myself I wasn't going to say conspiratard because I know that's like a trigger phrase, and I'm not trying to be antagonistic. It's just hard. It's just hard when like people just keep saying like, you believe Fedslop? You believe Fedslop? It's like, okay, buddy. Baron Coleman, who's another one of these guys that came out of nowhere and built a huge grift off of this whole thing. He says, I don't think Andrew Wilson trained debaters at Turning Point USA. I think they just knew our sources would tell us he was there, so they brought him under the guise of training debaters. Prove me wrong. And Kai Schwemmer says, I was there. Andrew helped run debate prep. What would the point of lying about this even be? Kai Schwemmer, of course, too sweet and naive to understand the mind of these insane people who what they're saying is that Andrew Wilson is like the TPUSA bag man who was called in to take out Candace Owens. But TPUSA doesn't want to admit that they're doing that. So they created this cover story that he was coming to train debaters. Baron Cohen says, I pointed out the purpose of lying in the tweet you quoted. It's the second sentence. And the second sentence says they knew that they would tell us he was, but that doesn't actually explain what's wrong with him being there, right? Kai says, I can read, actually. Anyway. Okay. About debates in general, and why I hate debates and why I hate the internet and why I hate the audience. Why my heart is full of hatred, a perfect hatred, and I count these people mine enemies. If you watch a debate and you have an opinion on who won the debate, you should be able to boil that debate down concisely to the core argument that it hung on, and then from there explain why you think one person lost based off of that one core, because most debates can be boiled down to a single core argument. Not all, but most. Some have like no arguments, actually. That's a thing that does happen. A good debate would have at least two arguments because each side would bring an argument, but that's not the norm. So I'll give you some examples, right? The no jumper debate that I did, the core argument, you should also be able to like say the debate topic too, right? So the debate topic was black people are killing white people. And the core argument was that the reason black people kill white people is because there's laws against child abuse, which stop black people from adequately beating their kids. And if we got rid of those laws, then black people would be able to beat their kids and then black people would stop killing white people. That was the core argument. So you can decide for yourself whether or not you think that's a good argument. But the point I'm making is that most people are utterly incapable. If you were to ask them after they watch the debate, they would be utterly incapable of boiling it down like that. And they would say like, oh, the white guy couldn't name 3 economists, but the black guy talked about like the Buffalo Soldiers in the Spanish War or whatever, and he knows history, and the white guy didn't know which country wasn't colonized. Like, right, all these things that are actually irrelevant to the topic, but they get persuaded by that because the average person is retarded. Okay? Democracy is for the people, but the people are retarded. Another example I can give you is in when I debated, I could do this for every single debate I've ever done. The Vosh one is kind of an exception because we covered like 5 different topics. So there's like 5 mini debates in there, and you can do that for every topic we went over. But if a debate, I could do it for every debate. When I debated that girl, Diddy or whatever her name is, and the topic is telling your children not to masturbate, child abuse. That was the topic that we debated. And the core argument that I brought forth was that, yes, there's evidence that people who are taught not to masturbate are more likely to feel shame, but that shame is not an inherently negative outcome. Shame is an adaptive emotion that God gave us along with all of our other emotions. And so it's not good enough to just say it leads to shame. You have to show actual negative outcomes downstream from that, which she failed to do. She had nothing because that doesn't exist. There's none of those studies show that people who are told not to masturbate end up suicidal or with substance abuse or mental illness. None of that. All it does is it shows shame. And I pointed that out to her and she had nothing. She couldn't counter that. So she couldn't defend her position that it's child abuse because she couldn't demonstrate the negative outcome, which even if there was a negative outcome wouldn't necessarily mean abuse, but it would at least be something. It would at least be something. And right. And and not to spend too much time on that, but like I made arguments to demonstrate that, like, if you tell your kid not to commit rape and then your 17-year-old son rapes a girl and then he feels ashamed because he knows it's wrong to rape girls, you did not abuse him when you told him not to rape, right? These are like, you demonstrate your arguments, right? But what happened was, the reason I got into that debate with her was because of some some article I posted about sex ed. And she brought up in the debate, and she was like, you don't even know what's in the article. And I hadn't read the article. And I admitted that. I was like, yeah, because that has nothing to do with the topic of the debate. The debate's not about sex ed. It's about, well, I mean, it could have been relevant, but it wasn't. So she wasn't bringing up the article because it was relevant to the topic. She was bringing it up for a gotcha to say, you didn't even read it. Oh my God, he's here to debate, and he did. And I was like, are you retarded? That has nothing to do with the topic, which it doesn't. But you look at the comments, and people are on the debate, people are like, oh my God, he didn't read the article. So what happens is the average person is just too stupid to track what is actually being argued. And they look for these, name 10 books, name 3 economists, name 3 black economists, name 3 non-Jewish white economists now. Oh, you can't? What country is east of Ecuador? Oh, you don't know? Guess you can't debate like South Africa, like I guess, or America, you know what I mean? Like, I guess you can't debate cocaine coming from South America. You know what I mean? So in this debate with Candace Owens, this thing came up where Candace is like, name the charges, name the 7 charges. And Andrew Wilson didn't do that. And if you're an idiot, you think that matters. If you're a clueless retard who can't track the topic, then you think that means anything at all. Okay, the topic of the debate is about Tyler Robinson's guilt. Is Tyler Robinson guilty of the murder, or was he a patsy who was set up? That's the topic. Whether or not Andrew Wilson can list the charges is irrelevant to whether or not Tyler Robinson is guilty. So, but you get comments like this. You're kidding, right? Regardless of your opinion about the trial or Candace Owens, that debate was an unmitigated disaster for Wilson. He literally couldn't name a single charge. That's not true. He named murder. Then defensively challenged Candace to name them all, which she easily did. Didn't know the difference between aggravated murder and murder, was dismissive about there even being an important difference between those charges, and then desperately accused Candace of cheating on her phone, which was immediately disproven by the moderator. If that wasn't the most telling moment of the debate for you, then you're not being honest. This is a somewhat biased framing of how that all went down. But even if you just take that all at face value, again, it's irrelevant to the actual topic. But it's the kind of thing the average retard thinks matters a lot. It's not particularly concerning, no.
Gabber sent $3 on Power Chat. You like Hollywood? Okay. Name every grapist.
It's just not relevant to the topic. But again, this is the thing. People don't. You're proving my point when you say you don't think he should know that. You're proving my point, which is that you're not tracking arguments. And this is how the average person looks at debate. They look at it as an intelligence contest. They look at it as who is going to sound smarter than the other person. And the way you do that is by acting like you know more than the other person. And a lot of like Candace probably memorized that list and like planned to use that as a gotcha. You know what I mean? Not necessarily, like it's not crazy to know those charges. But it's possible as part of her debate prep, she was like, there's 7 charges. I'm going to memorize them all. And then I'm going to get him on not knowing that. It's like Tucker Carlson asking Ted Cruz the population of Iran. You don't think Tucker Carlson looked that up right before as part of his prep for his interview with Ted Cruz. Ask Tucker Carlson the population of Ethiopia. See if he right. So you look it up, and then it's just like a gotcha on the person, and then it doesn't really mean that much. It's like, so what? We should go to war with Iran if there's 10 million people, but not if there's 90 million people? Like, what is even the point? The worst part was him calling her ghoulish for self-reporting. I don't know what his deal is with. I think his whole like I'm dripping the evidence. I think he's like satirizing them. I think he's just like making fun of them and the way they do their show. But I don't know. That's just my guess. I don't care about that. I think his worst. Okay, Andrew Wilson made a few mistakes. Him accusing Candace of cheating on her phone, that was a big mistake. That was like a Hail Mary desperation move that he should not have done. It, had it worked, then we wouldn't be saying that. We'd all be saying, oh my God, she got caught cheating. But it was just not necessary. And it was just a bad idea. And it came across as really desperate. Again, it's not relevant to the actual topic, but from just analyzing the performance, it's like, man, you should not have done that. He made at least one factual error that I'm aware of. He probably made more than one, but he made at least one, which was he called the ammo frangible, but soft tip bullets, which allegedly is what it was, soft point, whatever, are not frangible. So that was a technical error that he made. But overall, he was mostly correct, and Candace Owens was mostly incorrect. And that's what we're going to go through on the fact check here. I'm going to show you how much shit Candace got wrong. So if you ask me who won the debate, my normal metric of just going by who was correct, it would be Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson won on the facts. If you want to look at it from the more emotional viewpoint, from the rhetorical viewpoint, Candace Owens won because she got paid $300,000 and she didn't get humiliated because and I'm going to, as I go over this, I'm going to make a few points on things that Andrew should have done to drill it home a little bit harder, which is easy to say in hindsight. I'm not really judging Andrew Wilson super harshly. I'm just saying there's obviously room for improvement. And we're going to look at some of that too. Okay, this is one of the first fact checks, which has to do with the laws around hearsay. This is like one of the things I care about the least because, again, it's not that relevant to Tyler Robinson's guilt. We always want to stay on point.
At Dudeman141 sent $5 on your tube. As you were saying on Friday, all that matters is rhetoric and Dora. It's unfortunate, but debate is essentially for entertainment only at this point.
Right. That's all that matters to 90%. I would say there's about a 90-10 split. 10% of people are like what I explained, where they can track the arguments. They can track whether those arguments are relevant. They can boil it down to the core argument, and they can gauge who won and who lost based off of that. This debate actually had more than one core. It had like a few sort of important points of contention, but I'd say it's about 10% of people who watch debates who can do that. And the other 90% are like, ooh, that guy had a really bad gotcha, so he lost. Anyway, this is about the rules of hearsay, which isn't really super duper relevant to Tyler Robinson's guilt, but she was wrong about this.
Yeah.
They do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put people on the trial.
They don't have to.
But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay.
So you got a list of all the things that weren't hearsay. His text messages, his Discord messages, the physical evidence, rifles, casings, fragment, screwdriver, etc. The officer's testimony.
Then we look at the filing.
More officers' testimony, the DNA evidence, the DNA experts' testimony, etc. Right? All that, none of that is hearsay.
Then we look at the filings, which came
Although
from
the officers' testimonies may have contained hearsay, technically.
the defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery.
Testimony is hearsay? No. Testimony is hearsay if you testify to something somebody else said who's not in court. So there was hearsay at the preliminary in the testimony because one of the things they brought up was Tyler Robinson's mom, and we're going to be talking about this a lot because it's a huge piece of evidence. Tyler Robinson's mom said that Tyler Robinson implied to her that he shot Charlie Kirk and said that Charlie Kirk was evil when explaining himself. So then the officer goes and he says, Tyler Robinson's mom told me that he said Charlie Kirk was evil. That's hearsay. But hearsay is allowed in the preliminary. Whereas at the actual trial, they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to call Tyler Robinson's mom and be like, did you say that?
Are you just making stuff up?
Yes, Your Honor. My report at the last hearing is the latest report. As of June 18th, we had provided approximately 100% of the material in our possession. Over the last week, we have received additional materials from SBI due to preparation for this hearing. Those materials have not yet been provided, but they will be as soon as this hearing is complete.
Very adamant that his DNA was on the gun itself.
I haven't actually watched this video, so they're going through multiple errors. We'll just leave it there. I just wanted to point out the hearsay thing because I think most of the other stuff I already have all set up anyway. Okay. After the debate, and this is what I'm talking about, how grounded in reality tweets don't do well versus sensational stuff about that pushes the conspiracy angle. People love conspiracy. They love it. I said predictions. Yeah, the defense will be able to cross-examine Twiggs at the trial, of course. Do you guys not understand how this stuff works? You should know what he's being charged of. I disagree because the question is, did he kill Charlie Kirk? We all know that's the question. The technicalities of the charges, you don't need to know. That's not relevant to if he did it. Charges are not evidence. So what he's charged with has no bearing on what he did in terms of proving what he did. So no, you're just wrong. Well, I mean, look, you should know. Yeah, you should know everything. You should know literally everything there is to know about everything, ideally. It's not a question of should. It's a question of does it actually matter? And it's like I could beat you over the head with a hammer telling you that it doesn't matter and you're just not going to understand. Candace won the debate. Again, I don't care. That's fine. Candace won the debate. Candace was also wrong about everything. Okay? Do you understand that those two things can be true and that maybe you should be asking yourself why you think the person who's wrong about everything won? Maybe that's a question for you to ask yourself. It's like this with every debate. I hate debates because of this, because I hate the audience, because the audience is stupid. Anyway, so predictions. I make 3 predictions here. Number 1, the steakhouse narrative will fall apart. It will never be demonstrated that Tyler Robinson was at the steakhouse. Number 2, full discovery on the text messages, which the defense will get eventually, will do nothing to prove that Tyler Robinson didn't send the messages or that the messages were in any way inauthentic. Now, there's an asterisk next to that, so we'll come back to that. Number 3, Tyler Robinson will be convicted of aggravated murder unless he's allowed to plead to a lesser charge. Okay, so there's 3 predictions I made. Candace Owens has also made predictions. Here's some of Candace Owens' predictions. I'm feeling like those pesky conspiracy theorists are going to be proven right again, that Lance Twiggs is going to be determined a federal asset who helped set Tyler Robinson up. And in the end, we will learn that no gun was ever fired and that Charlie's mic exploded. So those are Candace Owens' predictions. Let's see which ones come true. Okay, now I want to go back to this number 2, the text messages. During the debate, yeah, I mean, look, you know, they could have cordoned it off with police tape. It's not like they had to pave it over.
Iron Cow 86 sent $5 on Rumble. But LP, did you know they paved over the site 4 days later after the investigation was done? Why don't they want students walking past a bloody mess on their way to class? What are they hiding?
They could have put up police tape and not paved it over, obviously. I think from their perspective, though, the question is like, why would you do that? We've gone over with the forensic evidence. The forensic team has gone over the site. They don't go back the next day and do another pass and the next day. That's not how these investigations ever work. The forensic team comes, they collect all the evidence, they take a bunch of pictures, and then and then they give it back to the, especially when it's a public space, especially. So, you know, again, the question is, what do you think was going to happen if they didn't pave it over? You think that Baron Coleman was going to go down there with his exploded microphone fragment detector and then he was going to prove that there was like thermite in the microphone or something? Like the internet people were going to go do their own forensics and they were going to find the evidence that Charlie Kirk's microphone killed him? Is that what you think? Yeah. Because that's what happens all the time. That's always how it always plays out like that. There's a crime scene and then the police are done and then the internet detectives go and they're like, wait a minute, we discovered fucking, you know, shape charge microphone fragments. But they paved it over so that couldn't happen. Anyway. Candace Owens during the debate said that the defense was not granted the text message, the full disclosure or discovery on the phone contents. So that's why I put this, I was like, well, and I said during the debate, like she's coping so hard because she thinks they're going to get discovery on the phones and it's going to somehow prove that he didn't send those text messages, which again, what would that even look like? The location, I guess theoretically the location data, right, would show that the text messages were sent from the wrong place. That's the cope. So much of this stuff, I don't know about thermite. I was just trying to like guess like what forensic evidence would prove the exploding mic, you know what I mean? Nobody's actually said thermite, but it's like, what I'm asking the question, like, what would you find? Let's say you had full access to the site before it was paved over. What are you expecting to find that the forensics team missed? And if the forensics team was going to cover up evidence, they would have got, if there was, you know, implicating evidence, what's the word I'm looking for? Complicated. If there was evidence that proved the conspiracy and they didn't want you to see that, they would remove the evidence while they were there doing you know what I mean? They don't have to pave it over because they have access to the site. They can just destroy the evidence. Does that make sense? They wouldn't have to pave it over. They're on the site. They're going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. They say, oh shit, look at this. It's a smoking gun that proves we shot Charlie Kirk with a space laser. And then they just sweep it up and it disappears. They don't have to pave it over for you to not have access to that, because they had access to the whole site before you do. You get what I'm saying? Does this make sense? So Candace said that they didn't get the phone, and that's why I put that as one of my predictions, but that's not even true. Candace was wrong about that. They did get everything. So here's her in the debate saying that.
Relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before.
They removed 10 inches of soil. Okay, but what do you, this isn't rhetorical. What do you think was in the soil? Yeah, exculpatory. Thank you. Thank you, Top Rob 20. That is the word I was trying to conjure. What is in the soil that you're looking for? I'm not being rhetorical. What do you think was in the soil that would have proven what? Do you have any? Can you come up with a single suggestion that we're not all going to laugh at? Okay.
Or we got to the
explosive residue. Okay.
Preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were.
God, I hate you so much. I despise you.
Requesting
this is the low IQ anti-Semitism thing is so real. It's so real because I'm like more anti-Semitic than you are. I'm super anti-Semitic. Nothing would make me happier than to lay this murder at the feet of Israel. If there was really any kind of convincing, compelling evidence that they were involved, I would love for that to be the case. But the evidence isn't there. I'm not going to pretend that it is, and then that makes me a good goy and a shill and a sellout. Fuck you. Fuck you so hard. I hate you. I absolutely despise you with every fiber of my being. You're making the rest of us look like retards.
An extension, and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted.
What are you going to find? An exploded pager? It only sounds stupid at first. Okay.
Because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off. And yes, you are allowed to have an intuition. You are allowed to have a sense and just go, this is very weird. Then we look at the filings, which came from
$3 on Power Chat. The name of this stream should be Bald Man Reaches Never Before Seen Levels of Cope After Chocolate Queen Devastates Super Chud Debate Bro.
Fair.
Defense, and they were requesting an extension saying, we have gone to the prosecution and we have requested all of this stuff in discovery. Yes, you are saying that you took Lance's phone, okay, and that you collected his phone on September 11th and that you sent it off or whatever. You took a picture of the text messages and we are being given these text messages to review. Crucially, Kathy Nestor said, I have not even been given access to my client's phone during this hearing. She said I hadn't even been given access to my client's phone. She can't tell you, as a part of their discovery request, is it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace, and I say I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what her client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence. So if I'm able to sow reasonable doubt with common sense, he may come during the trial and when they actually have to address these points, say, I did not write those messages. I was here. Lance, my boyfriend, was logged into my phone, logged into my Apple ID and my iCloud sending messages. I know that we have the capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from my phone.
Okay, yeah, he may. Prediction from me, that will not happen. Okay, so we're gonna if there's a trial, this is assuming he doesn't plead guilty, which I would say there's at least like a 50%. I'd say there's at least a 50% chance that he pleads guilty if they agree not to kill him in exchange for a guilty plea. So we may never get a trial. But if there is a trial, I don't think Tyler Robinson will take the stand, which people accused of murder almost never do. If he does take the stand, I don't think he's going to say, no, I didn't send those messages. I don't think any of that is going to happen. The chances of Tyler Robinson taking the stand is probably less than 1%, in my opinion.
It is not convincing to the public when, for whatever reason, the FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from. Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time we got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages.
Okay. So that's why I made my prediction that when they get full discovery, but you hear Candace saying they asked for an extension because they didn't get the discovery. That's not technically right. They got discovery in March. They got everything in March. And then they asked for an extension because the prelim was supposed to be in May. The prelim was supposed to happen in May. They got all of this discovery in March and they said, hey, can we have more time? And the judge said, yes, you may. And they moved it from May 18th to July 6th. So they did get all the discovery on the phones. They said, hey, we only have like 3 weeks. We want more time. And the judge said, okay, instead of 3 weeks, you can have like 6 weeks. Or actually, no, to July, that's like another, like 10 weeks. Okay, instead of 3 weeks, you can have like 10 weeks. They asked for that and he gave it to them. And so they had everything and they did not, in their brief, they did not say, or even at the preliminary, they didn't say like, look, the locations don't track. None of that. It's massive cope. It's massive cope that there's going to like, oh, we don't know. Like Tyler Robinson, he's going to deny saying sending the messages. The jury, even if he did, the jury wouldn't care because you need better evidence than the guy who's accused of murder saying that he's being framed. You need some kind of way to demonstrate that the messages were sent by somebody else. The only thing you could really hope for is the location data not matching up. And if that was even something they were looking for, they would have looked for that. Here's the thing. I don't think Tyler Robinson is really denying it with his defense team. You look at the angle the defense team is taking and they're not acting like they're trying to prove his innocence. And I think that's because Tyler Robinson isn't sitting there telling them, I'm innocent, I'm framed, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. If he was saying that to his lawyers, you would expect to see a different strategy from the lawyers. Okay, so they asked for the extension, they got this. So prediction 2 is already true, and the only reason I made it was because Candace was wrong about what happened, and I trusted what she was saying. But again, they have plenty of time before the trial to prove that the location data doesn't match up or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. I think my prediction is going to hold strong and fine. Okay, another thing that was wrong, and I was even guilty of this too, is that Candace said it's really weird how Netanyahu denied killing Charlie Kirk when nobody accused him of doing that. And that became like one of these memes that was repeated so much that even I was like believed that that happened. So when she said that in the debate, I was like, oh yeah, that was weird. I'll admit that was weird. But it's actually not true that nobody was accusing him. And also he was asked directly about it. So this is on September 11th at 4 a.m. I don't know what time zone, but Ian Carroll tweeted to 12 million plus people that Israel killed Charlie Kirk.
Luther 3792 sent $5 on Rumble. I think the timing is exceedingly convenient for Israel. That being said, it's generally not a good idea to get your info from African women on the internet.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know. Did they even want Charlie Kirk dead just because he was starting to have a change of heart? Maybe. I can't say for sure. I can't say that Charlie Kirk threatening to abandon the Israel cause is enough for them to be like, kill this motherfucker. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, people immediately, like Ian Carroll with his 12 million view tweets, immediately, this was like, what, 8 hours, give or take? About 12 hours after the murder, saying that Israel, and getting 12 million views. So then Netanyahu's doing interviews, and he gets asked about it.
I want you to address one thing, and it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second. But I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is.
I want you to address one.
So he didn't just offer that up out of nowhere. He was doing a news interview. The anchor asked him about it, and he's like, are we serious right now? Okay. Now, we need to talk about the way... Glass Joe. Oh, we need to talk about the way Tyler Robinson was caught. Because if you look at the facts of this, it should really convince you beyond any reasonable doubt that he is guilty. Which is why Candace had to take the position that he's being framed by the police and the police are just fabricating evidence and perjuring themselves and claiming that Tyler's parents did things that they didn't do. All of which is insane, and I'm going to explain why. But we got to look at what actually happened first. And before I do that, I'll just say really quickly too, like Candace, and if I was pushing this conspiracy theory, I would push that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk either because he was tricked into it by Jews on Discord, which, by the way, that's entirely plausible. The only reason I maybe doubt that happened is because I'm giving a little bit of benefit of the doubt to the FBI that they would have looked through the Discord history. But I'm not saying I trust the FBI. So that could have happened. There could have been Mossad agents messaging him on the internet being like, man, this Charlie Kirk guy's bad news. He's really bad. We got to take him out, blah, blah, blah. That's like way more plausible. And you'll never get proven that didn't happen. You'll never have egg on your face if you push that because it's like almost undisprovable unless we somehow get not only access to like all of the Discord logs 100%, but the identity of the people behind the Discord accounts, which is not going to happen. So you could say that, you could push that and it's within the realm of possibility, and it will also never be proven wrong. Pushing the retarded argument that the police are putting words in the mouths of Robinson's parents, that will get disproven at trial, and you're going to be proven wrong, which is what's going to happen to Candace Owens. So here's what happened. The day after the killing, Tyler's mom sees the security footage on the news, and she says, that looks like my son, Tyler Robinson, which is already kind of relevant because the people, they love to post these grainy security footage pictures, and then they'll post like a picture of Tyler Robinson from Facebook that's like 3 years old, and it's high def. It's like a clear photo. And they post them side by side on Twitter, and they say, you really telling me these are the same people? You really try to tell me these are the same people? His mom saw the footage and was like, oh shit, that's my son. There's also something about him where his mom was like, it couldn't possibly be my sweet boy. He would never. His mom was like, fuck, I think my son killed Charlie Kirk, which you don't do for no reason as a parent. You don't just immediately assume your son is guilty of murder based off of a coincidence. There's something about your son where you're like, oh shit. So she calls Tyler. She says, where were you yesterday? He says, I was homesick. She calls her husband and she says, I think that looks like Tyler. The husband agrees. And also they're talking about the gun in the news. And the husband is like, that sounds like my dad's gun that I gave to Tyler as a gift. So it looks like him in the footage, his parents are saying, and it sounds like the gun that we know he owns. And our son is like a leftist, homo-loving freak who would probably do something like this. So the dad calls Tyler, and Tyler's like, he knows he's like busted, and says he wants to like kill himself, which Candace also acts like is somehow a big hole in the narrative because he didn't kill himself. It's like so stupid. Like, yeah, when you know your life is you're about to spend the rest of your life in jail, it's not that weird that you would have a suicidal ideation. It's also potentially he was trying to manipulate his parents, which is what most suicide threats are, is their attempts at manipulation. Maybe if I say I'm going to kill myself, maybe my parents will send me off to some country without extradition, and I'll get to live a whole new life somewhere else if I just say I'm going to kill myself. But his parents, so he comes over, he basically confesses, he implies to them that he killed Charlie Kirk. He says, he tells them Charlie Kirk was spreading evil, so he provides them the motive. And then they call their family friend who is like a retired cop guy or military or something like that. And they're like, what should we do? And he comes over and they all go to the station together and are like, yeah, I'm the guy. Like basically confess. Well, he doesn't confess, but they go to the station and he's charged, right? They look at everything and then they interview the parents. The parents are like, he basically confessed to us, and they write up the charging documents. So here's from the charging documents. On the evening of September 11th, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. By the way, turning yourself in is also a kind of confession. If they were looking for you, if they were like, this is the suspect, this is his name, we want you to turn yourself in, but you were innocent, you might go and turn yourself in and be like, I'm the guy you're looking for. But typically, You don't go turn yourself in for a crime that you didn't commit when you're not on the police radar. You pull up to the police, you're like, hey guys, I'm innocent, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, and you haven't pieced this together yet, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence that was going to make it look like it was me. So I'm here to turn myself in, even though you guys don't know my name. Is there an example in history of that ever happening? Right? So the parents in the family, they show up at the police station with Tyler Robinson. Robinson's mother stated the following to police. On September 11th, the day after the shooting, she saw a photo of the shooter in the news and thought it looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son, asked him where he was. He said he was homesick. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Okay, this is all based off of the police interviewing the parents. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left. We'll come back to that. Becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle the police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. Robinson did not respond. Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, another thing innocent people do, by the way, you call them up, you're like, dude, you look like the fucking killer in the news. I'm going to kill myself. Something innocent people do. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there is too much evil and Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who is a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. Right? Again, another thing you do when you're innocent and no one's looking for you. You say, yeah, you're right, I'll turn myself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to avoid having police search his parents' home. The family friend asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. Okay, that's just part of the charging document. I need you to understand how damning this is and why, if you're Candace Owens and your whole argument is that Tyler Robinson didn't do it, that you have to argue that none of this is true. Because if this is true, then Tyler Robinson is guilty. It all adds up. His own parents ID'd him. He confessed to his parents. He gave motive. He turned himself in. He said he wanted to kill himself. These are not the actions of innocent people. Now, this interview with the mom is a big part of the case because this establishes the motive through his own confession to his mother of why, and his dad, of why he killed Charlie Kirk. So what's going to happen at the trial, if it goes to trial, assuming he doesn't plead guilty? the prosecution is going to call Tyler Robinson's parents. By the way, all of this was submitted at the preliminary hearing. So these statements by Robinson's mother was submitted at the probable cause hearing. The reason Tyler's parents weren't called to testify at the preliminary hearing is because here the rules around hearsay are looser than they are at trial. So what is going to happen at trial is that Tyler's mom is going to take the stand and they're going to say, did he imply to you that he killed Charlie Kirk? Did he tell you? And when you asked him why, did he say because Charlie Kirk was spreading evil? And Tyler Robinson's mother is going to say yes. And then you're going to see Candace Owens is retarded. Hopefully that's enough for you to be like, wow, Candace Owens doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. This should be obvious. This should be obvious because the counter narrative from Candace is that the police made all this up. None of this happened, and the police just are fabricating witness testimony. Now, when you say this to people, people love to do, just like the people like to say, trust the evidence, Goy. They love to say shit like, yeah, because the police never lie. Oh, yeah, LP, because the police never lie. Sure, pal. Dude, nobody knows that the police lie more than me. I was in a trial where the police lied under oath about what happened. Police lie. The question is, do they tell really retarded lies that are reliant on a living witness, in this case, the Robinsons' parents, who are going to just be like, no, that's not true. So Tyler's mom is going to take the stand. She's going to say, no, that's not true. None of that happened. Then what do you think happens to that cop? That cop is going to get he's going to get investigated. They're going to look at him and they're going to be like, why, like, what's going on? What's the discrepancy here? It's possible the interviews were recorded too. We don't know that if they were in this case. I looked into it, but it's also possible that this is all like on tape. So when you're lying, when you're fabricating evidence, listen to me carefully. Gary Maricano, take your video, stick it up your fucking ass or you're getting banned. I do not care. We have $20 video super chats if you want to play a 20-second video. Stop being a cheap, broke faggot or shut the fuck up. This isn't your show. This is my show. Spamming 20 fucking times. Play this video. Shut the fuck up, Gary Maricano. Yeah, you're broke. You don't have $20, but I'm supposed to believe you. I'm supposed to believe some broke ass. Some guy who can't have $20 to spend. Sorry. It's just, people say shit and you're like, I'm just going to ignore it. And then they keep saying it over and over because they won't let you ignore it. It's not your fucking show, asshole. If you are fabricating evidence, you don't fabricate false testimony from a witness who is going to take the stand and say that it's false. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand how stupid that would be? You fabricate evidence when you're not going to get caught. So again, we can look at predictions. Candace's prediction is that the mom is going to get up at the stand on trial and say, no, I never said any of that. The police made it all up. My prediction is that that's all real. Everything in the charging document is what happened. We'll see who's right. We'll see who's right if and when there's a trial. The only reason there's not going to be a trial is if Tyler Robinson kills himself or he pleads guilty, which is plausible if he says, I'll plead guilty if you let me live. And if the prosecution says, yes, we'll let you live.
WN sent $20 on Power Chat.
You really going to make me watch this asshole's video? Oh, not even. Just flexing. I thought you were going to like post the video. The family got tax money. They play trial and then fly him to the... Anyway, okay. Also, Candace Owens, I believe this is the clip of her saying that, right. Candace Owens also reported that Tyler's parents turned him in, and it wasn't based off of the charging documents. It was based off of one of her sources.
Anonymous sent $3 on Power Chat. Used to be a huge fan and longtime sub. Idquanu decided to sell out or got the call, but I'm unsubscribing from this Fed slop.
Bye. Thanks for the $3. I don't even think that's real. I think that's just somebody trying to rage bait me.
I have a source.
But either way, bye.
And everything the source has told me that has happened when we were lied to publicly has proven to be correct. So
Candace has her own sources which go beyond what is publicly available. This is on September 17th, about a week after the murder.
I'm very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also to Lance's family, they are confirming what this source is telling me. So we're going to go through this. So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up. Tyler says, Mom, I'm sick. She doesn't believe it. She loops in Dad. I have a source, and everything the source has told me that has happened when we were lied to publicly.
Sorry, we're looping, but I didn't hear the part where she said that they turned him in.
Has proven to be correct. So I'm very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also to Lance's family, they are confirming what this source is telling me. So we're going to go through this. So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up.
Why is she talking? She's also talking to Lance's family and getting info from them. The guy who works for Mossad. Anyway, so Candace herself reported on that at the time. And then what is this one? Okay, this is the part where Candace says that the charging documents are not true. By the way, and Andrew points out that the parents don't have to wait for the trial. The parents could just right now say, we don't know what's going on. The charging documents are full of shit that never happened. We didn't see our son in the photos. We didn't call him and ask him to turn himself in. He didn't confess to us and say Charlie Kirk was like, the parents could right now today go do an interview on whatever media platform they choose, CNN, Fox News, anything, and be like, we don't know what the fuck's going on, but none of that happened. There's nothing stopping them from doing that right now. And if your son was being framed and you were being lied about, would you say something? Would you be like, hold up, I never said that. The police and the prosecutors are lying about what I said.
I'm not going to address that.
They got it, but why aren't they?
This one's edited kind of goofy. I don't like, but I just wanted to have the clip where, for the record, Candace says the charging document is wrong. None of that stuff happened that we just looked at.
Parents disputing that.
No. Well, first in court, when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison
but
forever.
They're playing to somebody else who's your source.
I'm not going to address that.
Right, so Candace alleges that the family of Tyler Robinson thinks he's innocent. And the reason she's alleging that is, again, she has a source. So again, what's going to happen if I'm right? And the parents testify that all of this stuff really happened. What does that tell you? It tells you that Candace Owens is full of shit. She's literally lying. I mean, she could be getting fed bad info from a source. But when you have this many people watching you, you're supposed to vet your sources. You're supposed to verify stuff like this. Right? If the family sent a messenger to Candace, they sent a in-between guy to go talk to Candace Owens and tell I'm Tyler's parents. Hold on.
Drake sent $5. When Candace sends me St. Peter and asks who killed Charlie, and he says it was Tyler Robinson, they're going to say, I can believe the cover-up goes this high up.
Dude, that's a good one. Thank you, Sir Thomas Drake. I am Tyler's parents. I don't want to talk to the media, but I need to get the message out that my son is innocent. So I send my guy to go tell Candace, hey, we can't say this, but we think Tyler's innocent and he's being framed. This is what Candace alleges happened. So if you're Candace, you're going to be like, look, I need some proof that you are working on behalf of the family, that you're acting as their agent in this, that I can actually trust you to relay their true and honest beliefs. And so that's kind of the minimum you would expect. So what happens when Tyler's mom gets up on the stand and just says, yeah, everything in the charging documents is what happened? Are you guys going to understand?
Nonchalant sent $3 on Power Chat. How does Candace Owens' race factor in with her behavior?
Not particularly. Candace Owens is a very intelligent black woman. Candace is not stupid. It's fun to say she is because she can't pronounce words and stuff like that, but she's not stupid. This debate was a really strong demonstration of how quick she is on her feet and how good she is at obfuscating and selling a story through implication. Okay. She's like a grifter, but she's not stupid. And that's not particularly anything to do with being part black or whatever, I don't think.
Explain to someone else who's your source but won't go publicly tell the media this is not true?
Well, what I did not say to you that I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who was involved and permanently sued about.
Yeah, but it's bizarre that they would utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong. If I thought that my kid was in any way, shape, or form going to be up, you couldn't shut me up. Or my wife, she would be like, that's not true. That's ridiculous. There's no possible. That never happened. These people are lying through their teeth. They'd be public whether you like it or not.
Violate the judge's orders and see what would happen.
If you have a source, it seems like they're violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to a source, but what I am saying to you is speaking just relevant to what this is.
Seems like they're violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to.
I don't really like this editing, but anyway, I said there's things Andrew Wilson could have done better. And here's a spot where it would have been good for him to make the point that I'm saying, to say, listen, Candace, when this goes to trial, we are going to know, right? Because the mom's going to take the stand. If this goes to trial, that's basically guaranteed because of how important that testimony is, because it's what establishes motive. And that's the reason why that testimony, that interview with the police was submitted at the preliminary. It's part of the case against Tyler Robinson. So I would have liked for Andrew to be like, Candace, assuming he doesn't plead guilty and this goes to trial, we are going to find out. And we're going to see if you're full of shit or not. And what that does is it kind of plants the seed for everybody of like, oh yeah, because people are so stupid. The trial's going to be a year from now and everyone's going to have forgotten that Candace predicted that the mother's testimony was like fabricated by the police. We're not necessarily going to, if he pleads guilty, then it will all be irrelevant. Or if he dies before the trial. Yeah, there's certain things that could happen where we don't find out. But the odds that this goes to trial and his parents are not called to testify is like zilch. Like I'll bet money that that at least one of his parents will testify at the trial. And it's also even possible that they have all that interviews recorded, because usually like just think about this for a second. You show up at the police station with your retired sheriff friend and your parents, and you're turning yourself in. We don't know where those interviews were conducted, but it would make sense that they were conducted in an interview room. Especially, this is fucking Charlie Kirk's murder. This is a murder investigation of a high-profile public figure. So maybe a cop just stood in the lobby and talked to Tyler Robinson's parents out in the lobby and didn't record anything, and then wrote it all in the trial, right? Maybe they went and sat in an interview room and it's all recorded. We don't know, but it would hardly be surprising if there was a record. It would not be surprising at all. Now, another big thing that came up during the debate where Candace got wrecked is that she claims that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on the rifle. And that is not true. Lance Twiggs' DNA was not found on the rifle. They looked specifically for it because Lance Twiggs provided them a DNA sample, and they didn't find his DNA on the rifle. But Candace was pushing this a lot. And Candace during the debate was like, well, look, I made a mistake and I'll correct myself when I make a mistake. But she didn't correct herself until the debate, until it was brought up at the debate. And I tweeted about this and someone said she did. And I said, wait, she already issued a correction prior to the debate? Like, where is that? Where can I find the correction that she put out that Lance Twiggs' DNA wasn't on the rifle? And this guy said episode 358 of her podcast. And this asshole made me go and listen to a Candace Owens podcast where, spoiler alert, that doesn't happen. You can see little artifacts from my OBS that I was using to screen record here.
She then confirms our repeat report, as you just heard her, that there was a minimum of 5 sets of DNA on some of these mixed samples, 4 sets of DNA. Could be more people that actually were also found on the gun, but prints which were found on the gun, which of course included Lance Twiggs. It also included Matt Robinson, Tyler's father. I'm going to guess that it also included his brothers. And of those multiple sets, and this is what is crucial and it is explosive, and everyone should have reported on this. She reported that Tyler.
You're not a nationalist if you hate racists.
Robinson's DNA sample was the most degraded. This registers to me as more evidence that Lance Twiggs simply took Tyler Robinson's family heirloom of a gun and helped the feds set him up as a patsy. There is no reason why Lance Twiggs's prints are less degraded than Tyler Robinson's prints on this gun if Tyler Robinson is the shooter. It is a massive admission by her that his prints were degrading, given how much it takes to degrade those prints. So that was something that I felt that they were intentionally trying to gloss over and realizing that she's basically...
Okay, so that was supposedly the correction where she's still saying Lance Twiggs' DNA. And then somebody else, I only saw this morning when I was pulling this up, but somebody else replied and said on episode 373, okay, that was episode 358, 8 days ago, she was still claiming Lance Twiggs' DNA was on the right. So this is 8 days before the debate.
His DNA on the rifle. And to be clear, Lance Twiggs' DNA was not as degraded as Tyler Robinson's.
Okay. So there's a thing here, a point I keep trying to make, which is about weasels who argue about things that don't actually matter to them. Candace Owens says, oh my God, Lance Twiggs' DNA is on the rifle. So he probably planted it to frame Tyler Robinson, and because he's like the Mossad handler, he's the guy setting up the patsy, he's working for Netanyahu, blah, 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 right? Like this proves it. His DNA was less degraded, meaning that he probably was handling the rifle more recently. That's not actually how degradation works, but that's the implication. Again, the implication. It's all the implication, right? Tyler Robinson's DNA is more degraded than Lance Twiggs. And so now your mind is supposed to connect the dots. That means Lance Twiggs handled the rifle more recently. The problem is Lance's Twiggs DNA isn't on the rifle at all. She just made that up. She assumed that based off of the fact that there was 5 people's DNA. But it's a stupid assumption because they looked for Lance Twiggs' DNA and they said, we found some of Lance Twiggs' DNA on the towel and the screwdriver, right? So the common household items shared between roommates did have some Lance Twiggs DNA, but the rifle, which is not a common household item that you're going to use as a matter of course, did not have Lance Twiggs' DNA on it. You know, and Owen Benjamin replied to me and because I called Candace out for this. And Owen Benjamin goes, well, you probably reported that Tyler Robinson's parents turned him in. And it's like, well, yeah, because that's probably is what happened. Just because Candace is claiming it's not what happened doesn't make that real. But also, and that was what was reported in the media. And that was reported wide. So there's a difference between you're regurgitating the official narrative, which is that that Tyler Robinson was turned in by his parents. That's official narrative from day one. There's a difference between you are hearing that and you're saying, okay, this is what happened. His parents turned him in. And you're just doing like an AI hallucination of something that nobody is saying officially, which is that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on the rifle. There's a big difference between those two things being not true. Anyway. Furthermore, I don't know if I had anything pulled up for this, but I want to touch on something else, which is the picking and choosing when it comes to testimony, taking things that help your case and ignoring things that don't help your case is not what honest investigators do. Honest investigators make a judgment on the totality of the evidence. And I'll give you a couple examples of Candace not doing that. The first is during the debate, she said that Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs being leftists was debunked. She said there's no proof, no evidence that they were leftists. Is a total fabrication, part of the Fed slop narrative. The reason she said that is because Lance Twiggs said that during his preliminary hearing testimony. He took the stand. He said, me and Tyler didn't talk about politics. We never talked about trans issues. We never talked about Charlie Kirk. And so Candace Owens says, that's all debunked. They weren't leftists. They're not even political. They're just a couple of chill, normal dudes who like Chick-fil-A. Okay, total Fed slop debunk. Right? Here's the problem. First of all, Your whole position is that Lance Twiggs is a Mossad agent. So why are you accepting his testimony on this one thing that you like, but ignoring the parts of his testimony that you don't like the part where he IDs Tyler Robinson and says that's him, that's Tyler in the security footage? That part's a lie, but him denying, by the way, my position has always been that Lance Twiggs knew in advance. I believe that. I don't have proof. It's what my gut tells me. But I believe that. And so I believe they did talk about politics and trans issues. I mean, Tyler's parents said that that he was bringing that up all the time with his dad. He was having arguments with his dad about trans issues. And I think Lance Twiggs lied on the stand because he doesn't want to go down with the ship. He doesn't want to be implicated. And I hope they nail his ass. I hope they get him for perjury. I hope they get his ass for perjury for that, for lying about that. If they could just find some proof that these guys talked about trooning out and loving homosexuality.
Anonymous sent $3. I was once a huge conspirator. This should not have become the big deal that it did. Candace alone has caused great controversy for nothing. I have learned to take things slower and not emotionally jump to conclusions.
Thank you for the $3. Yeah, I mean, you just you see, you can tell if somebody's an honest actor, like I'm pointing out, by if they're taking all the evidence or just the stuff they like. So that's one example. She says these guys were not leftists. We know that because Lance Twiggs debunked it single-handedly. Here's the problem with that. Apart from the fact that you think Lance Twiggs works for Mossad or the French Foreign Legion or the fucking Illuminati or whatever, apart from that, Tyler's parents testified to the police, or maybe testify is not the right word. They alleged in an interview that he was always talking about gay politics and that he didn't like Charlie Kirk. But there's more than that. Tyler Robinson had a fur affinity account. He had an account on a furry forum. He's gay with his gay roommate. And he's got this rare badge on his Steam account from a furry dating simulator that you have to put 1,000 hours into the game or something. Don't quote me on the 1,000 hours part, but he had some rare Steam badge for a furry dating simulator game. Right? But that's not all. We found their Reddit accounts. Andy Ngo found Lance Twiggs' Reddit account. And Lance Twiggs on Reddit was posting on Troon forums about taking HRT. Multiple posts about taking HRT. Maybe this guy wasn't full-blown Troon, but he was definitely dipping his toes in the water. He also had a post about he didn't like Donald Trump because Donald Trump was hard on trans people. That's been traced to his Reddit account. Lance Twiggs also changed his Steam name to Luna. From Lance. His name on his Steam account was Lance, and a year ago or whatever, he changed it to Luna. So this is what I mean by picking and choosing. You can't just take one piece of evidence, everybody claimed these guys were leftists, but that's been debunked because Lance Twiggs said so. It's well, what about all this other evidence that contradicts Lance Twiggs' testimony? Do you think maybe Lance Twiggs is lying, Candace, on the stand, maybe? And another big example of her doing that is with the DNA testimony. So she hammers over and over again, Most degraded DNA, as if that means something to people who aren't DNA experts. But the same testimony that comes from, the same woman who said Tyler Robinson's DNA was the most degraded, also said that Tyler Robinson was the majority contributor, meaning that most of the DNA on the rifle was from Tyler Robinson, and that she could say that with 1,000,000,000,000 to 1 confidence. So the same person testified with 1,000,000,000,000 to 1 confidence, her words, that most of the DNA, the majority DNA, was from Tyler Robinson. Candace doesn't talk about that part. She leaves that out. She doesn't care about that part. That's not a problem for her. That's not something that needs to be considered. What needs to be considered is that it was the most degraded. Again, what's going to happen at trial? They're going to testify his DNA was all over the rifle. If they even get asked about the degradation, the defense maybe says, well, what, it was degraded. Couldn't that mean somebody else handled it more recently? And the DNA expert is going to be like, that's not what that means. It does that. You can't draw that conclusion. Okay.
Gabber sent $10 on Power Chat. Lance Twigs looks really gay.
Thank you, Gabber. And then this was just a funny moment where Candace got owned because she didn't know that Tyler Robinson had, in his text messages, admitted that it was him on the security footage.
Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you call them
literally
conspiracy
what I'm trying
theorists.
to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference why I think it's Tyler Robinson, is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security.
Yeah, so why do you think that's Tyler Robinson? Because he said so in his text messages. 4 stars. Also, his parents saw that and they were like, holy shit, that's my son. And his roommate testified, that's him. I don't care that much about Lance Twig's testimony. I don't trust that guy as far as I can throw him. But the other stuff is good enough for me. Tyler Robinson saying it's him and his parents recognizing it's him, that's enough for me that I don't have a reasonable doubt that it's not him. If you can show me somehow that he didn't send those text messages, then we can talk. But you can't do that.
At the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say. On top
I would.
of
I'm
that,
sorry. I actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm paraphrasing,
Can
but
we
it was
pull that
close
up?
to
Yeah,
it.
If
I
you
don't-
may
I feel-
have
I
it.
think
And
that's
by the
not
way,
right.
one, Tyler's messages that says it's not hearsay. But first, go to what Candace is asking about Skylar. I think you have it. You just texted me if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I think that's not right. I think that's not right.
All right. So, I mean, I give Candace's grift like an 8 out of 10. At the end of the day, she got rich doing this, and she's a price. I don't think there will ever be a reckoning for Candace Owens. Doesn't matter if all my predictions come true and none of hers do. Doesn't matter. She got the bag of money and she's going to run. The reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 grift is because she could avoid ever having egg on her face by just saying that Tyler Robinson was groomed by Israel to go kill Charlie Kirk. Or to be the patsy. Like that, you can take that position and still say that he wasn't killed by a 30-06. Tyler Robinson didn't shoot him, but Tyler Robinson was there. Tyler Robinson thought he was shooting Charlie Kirk, and Tyler Robinson was tricked into doing all of that by Israel. If you took that line, You'll never be proven wrong. But she took a very dumb line where she has to say the police are fabricating testimony. The text messages aren't real. Tyler's at a fucking steakhouse. He's got a solid alibi. Very, very unlikely to follow through on that, by the way. The steakhouse thing. Very actually unsolid alibi. Anyway. So she's going to have egg on her face for all of that stuff, but not that it matters. Not that it matters. That's not a... Me being able to say I told you so is not a reckoning for Candace Owens, okay? Check. What? I'm not muted. Fuck, man. Andrew Wilson... People are really saying it's muted? Hold on, let me play the stream back. Check. Fuck you guys. Ban those people. Ban them. Ban Rocket Man. I'm not even joking. Ban those guys. I'm not even joking. Okay, Nerd City, do you want to call in? I think, hold on, let me see if I'm done my presentation. This is Lance Twiggs testifying that it's Tyler Robinson. Like I said, I don't even need that for my case. What is this?
I'm saying that I feel like I've already said to you, like I've made that concession. But just to be clear, whenever I make a mistake, I just correct it. So that's why when you were asking me 3 times, I've already said.
So this is about the DNA.
We don't know yet, and I've corrected
that. But here's her saying that she'll correct her mistakes.
That mistake. So if the purpose of you showing this is to demonstrate that...
No way you're not going to call in? I don't understand. You seem very frustrated. You seem convinced that I'm getting it all wrong. You could come explain to me. I would actually appreciate if you did that because I might do a debate on this. I didn't want to mention this because excuse me, I don't think it's going to happen. And so this would be like practice for me. If you want to come on here and explain to me how I'm wrong, this could be like a practice debate for me. This isn't the kind of topic you want to be right about for fun. What are you talking about? Are you gonna come on and talk to me or not? What is happening right now? Yeah, I mean, I'm only giving Nerd City the opportunity to call in because he is a somebody. This isn't an open invitation to every random retard. We do that on Saturdays, though, for the record. Every random retard has their opportunity on Saturday. Doesn't seem like he wants to call in. I don't even know what the issue is. So I don't know what I'm getting wrong. I just laid out my case, but I don't know what the problem is. Anyway. Oh yeah, the debate. So I asked Brian Atlas from Whatever podcast if he would want me to debate Owen Benjamin, because I know Owen is willing to debate it. None of these other people are willing. I mean, Candace did, so she did, to be fair, but like Ian Carroll, Baron Coleman, those guys are all asked to debate it and they won't do it. But I was like, hey man, I'll debate Owen Benjamin on your show. I said, if you pay for my expenses, I'm not covering my own expenses. And he replied and he said, can you send me some debate? So I sent him the no jumper one. So I don't think it's going to happen, but could be fun if it does.
Candace makes mistakes sometimes.
Right, so that's her saying she makes mistakes. But again, she never corrected the record on Lance Twiggs until Andrew Wilson in the debate was like, Lance Twiggs' DNA wasn't on the gun. I actually don't hate Owen Benjamin. I know he doesn't like Nick, and he goes in on Nick all the time, so I don't have to guess that hard why Buff Incel isn't a fan, but I like Owen. And I actually think Owen is more good faith. He's a schizo. I like Owen is an honest schizo, an honest to God schizo, and I like people like that. Foundering is like that too. Foundering, you know, okay, I'm not going to get into the Sandy Hook stuff. He doesn't think Sandy Hook was a real shooting. I like people like that because I know they really believe it with like every fiber of their being. I can't say the same for some of these other people necessarily. Obviously, I can't know what other people believe, but it's just it's your gut. What does your gut tell you? Well, so we'll see. So anyway, I think Owen Benjamin would be, because like Owen Benjamin won't like avoid like saying what he really thinks because he's scared of getting sued or whatever bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah, Foundering is right about Sandy Hook. Okay. Now, I said this during the debate. There was one thing that came up that was news to me that I hadn't heard before, which is that there was 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground.
And other than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said.
Okay, that's the audio guy. Yeah, okay.
Rocket Man sent $3 on Power Chat. I was having connection issues. LP, I'm sorry. Please unban me.
Yeah, let me do that real quick. For $3, we're doing this for $3 now. The mods can't do it, can they? What? Oh no! Can't like cancel. Shit. I hit the unban everybody. That's a mistake I make. That's like a nightmare, but I didn't hit save, so I think I'm okay. Let me just double check that. Whew, I almost accidentally unbanned. Let's see how many people. About 400 people. And I did that once before intentionally. I intentionally unbanned everybody. And after doing it one time, I was like, I'm never doing this again. What's that guy's name? Rocket Man? There he is. Okay, you're unbanned. Yeah, so I know Owen Benjamin is willing to do it, but I don't know that Andrew Wilson wants to do it with Owen Benjamin. But I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Fuck it, I'll do the debate at this point. Because to me, I'm making all these points and they sound good. If Nerd City wants to call in and tell me why it doesn't sound good, I'm willing to entertain that, but I don't get, here's another thing that sounds good to me. And I made this point before, but it bears repeating. They say, and Candace said this during the debate, I don't believe the text messages are real because I don't believe that Tyler Robinson could be that stupid as to implicate himself on his phone. And like putting aside the fact that, oh God, I was looking at the chat and I lost it. Putting aside the fact that like people are incriminated by their text messages all the time. It's very common. There was like a story, I don't have it pulled up, but there was a story about a guy who, accidentally texted his own drug deal to the police. Do I still have that in this one? Yeah, this one right here. I didn't pull it out. Drug dealer jailed after texting police by mistake. A drug dealer who accidentally texted a police officer about his new drug line has been jailed. Okay. I mean, look, Tyler Robinson is by all accounts an intelligent person. So I get it. It's like, would he really like implicate himself in the text messages. But here's the problem is they don't look at that from the other side, which is you have the FBI, the CIA, Mossad, the French Foreign Legion, Bridget Macron's penis. They all get together and say, we're going to kill Charlie Kirk and we're going to... Did that guy get banned again? I don't know what's going on. Is he just trolling us? If you want to get unbanned again, it's going to be more than $3. They say we're going to kill him. We need to get away with it. Somebody's like, I got the perfect patsy. This Tyler Robinson kid. We're going to pin the murder on him. And we're going to place him at the scene. We're going to plant the rifle. It's going to be perfect. He'll go to jail. They'll never suspect anything else. But they make this one itsy bitsy mistake, which is they shoot Charlie Kirk with a different caliber bullet, and everybody knows that it can't possibly be a 30-06. Everybody knows that a 30-06 would have like decapitated him. It would have obliterated his torso. What should have happened is there should have just been like bloody legs and nothing above if it was a 30-06. And because that didn't happen, now the whole thing falls apart. But so the Illuminati are too stupid to be like, oh, we're going to shoot him with a 9mm bullet, but we're going to tell everybody it was a 30-06 or whatever. We're going to shoot him with whatever, a 22. I don't know. I'm not a gun guy. What does he supposedly get shot with? A 22? We're going to shoot him with a 22 and we're going to tell everybody it was a 30-06. That's not stupid. That's not too stupid to be believable that nobody in the entire intelligence operation was like, won't people wonder why his upper torso wasn't obliterated by the bullet? We're going to shoot him with a crossbow and we're going to tell everybody that it was Big Bertha from the German military that shot him. That's not too stupid to believe. But Tyler Robinson couldn't possibly have confessed over text message, leaving a paper trail of his confession. I don't know, man. These seem like to me, these are like compelling arguments. Like you have to explain the discrepancy, why you think it's impossible for Tyler Robinson to be stupid, but the Illuminati make enough mistakes for Candace Owens to have 3 new things on every podcast episode. They're so incompetent, right? The Illuminati planted this narrative that Tyler Robinson was a leftist, and then their own agent went on the stand and debunked the narrative, proving the conspiracy theorists right. This is what she argued in the debate. She argued the narrative was these guys are leftists, but the guy I accuse of being Mossad handler, Lance Twiggs, said they're not leftists. So now the whole leftist thing is debunked, and the fact that the leftist thing is debunked proves the conspiracy. It must be a conspiracy, because where did this whole story about him being a leftist come? Do you guys understand how fucking stupid this actually is? Am I getting through to anyone right now? So they shot themselves in the foot by having Lance Twiggs go off script. Fuck, man, we almost had them tricked, but then Lance Twiggs told everybody they didn't talk politics, and now they know that was a planted story, and now the whole thing's unraveling. This is the Illuminati. This is Mossad. This is the lizard people are this fucking dumb. But Tyler Robinson could not possibly have confessed over a text message, because why would you do that? Meanwhile, Hassan Piker is celebrating that all the heat is getting taken off the left, while the right is divided right down the middle between conspiratards and Fed sloppers. The right has been divided into you're either a Fed slopper or a conspiratard, and we're all accusing each other of being massively retarded. The right is just two sides pointing the finger at each other saying, you're so fucking stupid. I can't believe how stupid you are. And Hassan Piker is sitting back and being like, this is awesome. I love Candace Owens.
I can't speak out against this queen because this is a queen that successfully and single-handedly undermined the Republican initiative to martyrize Charlie Kirk and use that example.
The Baby Baddest 101 sent $4.99 on YouTube. Hey LP, I know this is sort of off topic, but when it comes to the conspiracies, do you think UFOs are real in any capacity?
Yeah, Buffett. So yeah, the Illuminati were like, this plan is airtight, but they forgot one thing. They didn't count on Ian Carroll. Fuck, we would have got away with it if it wasn't for Ian Carroll. I don't, but I don't have super strong opinions on it. There's a lot of smoke. You know how they say there's no smoke without fire? There's a lot of smoke when it comes to the UFO stuff. But I'm not convinced. If you gun to my head, do I think it's real or not? I'm going to say not real. Gun to my head. If I have to pick a side, I'm going to say it's not real, but I don't really know. I saw Devin Tracy tweeting about Bob Lazar yesterday, and he's like got videos about why he believes Bob Lazar, and I was almost tempted to watch, but I didn't because it's just, I don't think it's kind of to me that stuff is like entertainment. It's like goy slop. It just doesn't matter. I'd rather just read a Stephen King novel if I'm going to do that, because at least he's a good storyteller.
To crack down on political dissent. She dropped a grenade on the discourse. You understand? So I'm with her. It's hard. It's hard for me. My brain says, no, it's probably Tyler Robinson. But my heart says, go, Candace, go. Keep cooking. You know? Does that make sense?
She dropped a grenade on the discourse is an extremely good analogy, good phrasing, good metaphor for what's happened. We should all just be like, the left is a bunch of bloodthirsty psychos, but instead we're talking about exploding lapel microphones.
I can't like her tweets because she blocked me many years ago. This is before she became our hero. Okay. Many years ago, Candace Owens blocked me. I've not been a fan of Candace Owens. I am a fan now.
And Sean McCarthy as well, another leftist. I do kind of like this guy as far as leftists go. He's one of my favorite. But same thing. This is why people on the left should be following the Tyler Robinson, Charlie Kirk case. Robinson did not kill Kirk. The fake story of him doing so is what prompted NPSM 7. I don't even know what that is. If you're accepting the government narrative about Antifa terrorism, you're already losing, right? In other words, yeah, it's not Antifa terrorism. It's not bloodthirsty leftoids. Pay no attention to the hundreds of thousands of people who celebrated the murder. This is a Israel conspiracy. And again, I wish it was. I hate Israel more than I hate the left. That's true. Who do I hate more, Israel or the left? Israel. Specifically, the people of Israel. I have many racial grievances with the Jewish people, due to hundreds of years of history of what they've done to my people and my nations. Okay, I'm not going to get into all of that right now. But if I had to pick, like, who do you hate more, the left or Israel? Israel. The problem is that the left is also our enemy, and they did do this.
Skritmugrit sent $3 on Power Chat. I listened to enough Art Bell to know Bob Lazar is a schizo.
Well, apparently Devin Stack did a Bob Lazar debunk too and calls him like a grifting Jew or whatever. I saw this in the tweet. So I'm not familiar. It's a distraction. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, that's something you do for fun. But I'm sure Devin Stack probably makes a good case. All right, so that's that. Moving on, hopefully we're done talking about the debate and all that, but I wanted to get some of that stuff off of my chest. If I end up doing the whatever podcast debate, big if, probably won't happen, but if it does happen, I'd like to do some practice debates. Probably do some practice debates with Grok too. Anyway, Dean Withers has been accused of rape. This is a Newsweek article. What time is it? 2:15. We're at 12. Okay, I do have a dentist appointment at 2 o'clock. Dean Withers reveals death threats amid false rape allegation in quotes. Now, spoiler alert, I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on this, but spoiler alert, it appears to be a false rape allegation. It appears to be not real. But what is really interesting about this, and what we can use to our advantage as rightists, is that Dean Withers' own co-hosts and partners, these other guys, Parker and Henry Sisson, they were like not coming to his defense because this is the problem for leftoids. They have to be like, believe women. That's one of their mantras. So this fake probably rape allegation gets thrown at Dean Withers, and his friends, his comrades are like, you're on your own, nigga. I'm not, hey, whoa, we can't just call this fake. So here's Dean talking about it.
Comma, obviously.
This is his PowerPoint presentation.
The account.
Debunking
this
it.
TikTok account was created 4 days ago. Let me go ahead and make sure that it's visible on all means, both TikTok and YouTube. This TikTok account, after its creation, began to post videos claiming that I raped them.
This always sucks. I ain't watching 17 minutes of this. I'm sorry that happened to you, or I'm happy for you. Like I said, I'm going to gloss over. You know what I don't have, though, for some reason? I forgot to pull it up, is the funny video. Oh, shit, I deleted it, too. I deleted my YCSP. Let me check my recycling bin. Yeah, it's in here. How do I open this folder? Restore. Okay, restore that. Oh, it's loading. The funny video of Dean Withers like crying because his friends wouldn't come to his defense.
Proven wrong, I do agree with you, but I'm just saying it hasn't been proven wrong.
I absolutely show the mulatto baby.
It's a mulatto.
Can somebody ban that guy? Do we have a mod on Rumble?
Okay.
To me,
So
it
somebody,
hasn't been proven wrong.
I proved it wrong by showing that the DMs were fake. Fuck you.
And listen, it can
No.
be fake. Listen,
Did I show? Shut up. Did I show that the DMs were fake?
Give me a little anxiety, Pen, all right?
Answer the question. Yes, I am. I am getting loud. I am getting upset. You are accusing a victim of domestic violence of raping somebody after I've proven that they're completely fake.
Right? You're a victim because you're on the receiving end.
Fucking mods are useless.
Yeah, keep running from the truth.
Why would you do this, Daniel?
Listen, we can debate Trump right now if you
why,
want to.
Just why would you do that? Why would you say that shit, bro?
Listen, just listen.
We're at 3.5 kilobytes out of what should be 6,000. Now we're at 4,000. But it's kind of bouncing down and up. So I don't know if this isn't really. Oh, we're green. Okay, 6,000. We're back. And we're back. Okay, so I think what happened there was I wanted to get this video, but it was in recycling bin. I had to restore it. And then because I restored it back, Google Drive started to upload it to the cloud. And that killed my internet connection. So I closed Google Drive and now we're back.
Fuck, dude. God, man.
Probably good lesson for me to keep that closed when I'm streaming.
So welcome into You Support Trump.
Yo, you rate me, bro.
All right, that's it for this. That's it for the night. Peace, love, goodbye. Hit that follow button.
He looks so defeated. So here's a video so I guess somebody used some other girl's photos to make the false allegations. And here's the girl whose photos got used explaining that it's fake.
I'm making this video because I'm getting a lot of DMs and comments about this whole situation with Dean Weathers and Emily. I'm the girl whose photos were being used in Emily's videos, and I wanted to make this before things got even more out of hand.
He cried when Kirk died. Yeah, you're right about that. We can turn this guy. We need to like hammer home. We need to plant the seeds like Dean. Your guys didn't believe you, but you know what? Over here on the right, we hate women. Join the dark side and you'll never have to. That's a joke. We don't hate women. We don't hate women. We just don't believe them. We just know that they lie. We love women, but we treat them like children, Dean. It's great. You're going to love it. Dean Withers says he waited outside with a pistol thinking someone was coming over his house with a bomb after being swatted.
We're just going to spend the rest of the time on live doing debates. I spoke with the cops. I think everything is good. Somebody called my local police department and said that they were on the way to my house with a bomb to kill me. So I went out front and I sat in a chair with my 9mm at my hip, waiting for somebody to show up at my house to try to kill me on the front porch. But that was just a precaution. I knew that chances were it was fake.
That's how you get drive-by
Luckily,
shot.
It was fake. Instead of somebody showing up at the house to kill me, the cop showed up and I spoke with him for a while. I don't know if I could keep on doing this.
You also don't want to be sitting there tapping your gun on your knee when the cops show up. Nervously tapping your gun as the cops pull up.
At least in
Tristan Chase sent $20 on Power Chat.
Thank you. I don't know why that didn't read, but Candace leveraged her relationship and some text messages to imply a closer connection and inside knowledge that can't be proven. She's backing Tyler Robinson, pleading guilty and no trial. So filing time with makeup, dangled carrots, quite sick. She's backing, I don't know what you mean by she's backing him pleading guilty. I do think there's a pretty strong chance he pleads guilty, not guaranteed, but would not be surprised at all to see that happen. And another prediction. I'll make a prediction. If Tyler Robinson pleads guilty, Candace Owens will not do a mea culpa and say, holy fuck, I was wrong about everything. He did do it. That's another prediction you can clip and bookmark, okay?
the same way that I'm doing it right now. And maybe this is just the ultimate test to see if I'm cut out for this.
Dude, these people are so... By the way, that's... Owen Benjamin has a thing where he reads the text messages of Tyler Robinson, and he hams it up because they're like so dramatic or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's how these gay leftoids are. Listen to this guy right now. He's like, he's doing a, like, maybe this is all part of God's plan for me, but without actually the religious side to it. But just listen.
The cop showed up, and I spoke with him for a while. I don't know if I could keep on doing this. At least in the same way that I'm doing it right now. And maybe this is just the ultimate test. To see if I'm cut out for this.
I'm being tested in the fires. You know, look, somebody accusing you of rape that you didn't do is not fun. I'll give him that. I can be a little bit sympathetic here. But he is also just kind of dramatic.
To see
if it was me, if somebody accused me of rape, I'd just be like, that's retarded.
If I can.
Easy to say, though.
Be a part of a greater change for the world that I live in. Even when severely inconvenient to myself and my own interests. The reason why this is happening is really clear. As I'm sure that maybe a minority of maybe even a majority. As I'm sure as maybe even of a majority of the viewers know, 3 days ago, some...
Dean is kind of a cool name. It is, actually. I have an uncle, Dean. I choose Dean over Dunya.
Wretched fuckhead made a fake account, stole pictures of a minor, claiming to be that minor, and fake DMs.
Yeah, if I got accused of rape, you guys would just all be like, wow, I didn't know he had it in him. Good for him.
Where I admit to raping them. Now, luckily, they were dumb as fuck. So, the DMs were obviously fake. And the minor whose photos were stolen, like, spoke out and said, this ain't me. So it was really easy to disprove. But the right doesn't care. Today, there have been hundreds of accounts of people on the right, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter.
Candace's is a principled stand. Oh, wow. We're already backpedaling. We're already backpedaling. Look, it's not about principles. We're talking about, can you look at the evidence and discern the most likely truth based off the evidence? So this is not a question of her principles. It's a question of her discernment. If Tyler Robinson pleads guilty, it shows that she has shitty discernment. She argued he's not there. That's not him in the it's not him in the photos. Right? If that's wrong, it doesn't mean she's principled. It means she is bad at discerning reality. That's what that means.
Including people like Joel Patrick, the older millennial, all posting videos without saying it explicitly because they would get sued because they're wrong, insinuating that I actually did rape a kid. Even though they know it's false. Even though they know it's fake. Even though that there's never been more damning evidence of an allegation being fake ever. Like the person in the photos being like, this is not me. You know what I mean? And now, even born out of this, there are now just random large right-leaning news accounts, quote unquote, on Twitter, on Facebook and Instagram.
Dude, cry me a river. Nick Fuentes makes fun of Dean Withers crying.
It can literally destroy a good life, a wonderful life. And I'm begging you.
Dude, look, he's literally sobbing. He's literally weeping. You know, he's like, it's not like his parents died or something. It's not like he said that.
That is not the real Nerd City. I will say he usually is on YouTube when he comes in the chat. But he's been showing up in, where is he? Where is that fucking guy? Can I look at his his Rumble account. Rumble doesn't like let you, hold on, click this. They don't have a like look at the account. I think it might be him. Nerd City. 2 followers. Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like the real Nerd City would call in and talk to me. Anyway, who knows?
Dude, Bryce Hall posted a clip of him saying the N-word playing Fortnite. He was playing Fortnite, said the soft A, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get banned here, said, oh, N-word. They posted it years later and said, haha, guess you're a liberal hypocrite because you're a racist too. And he's weeping in a struggle session.
Old video?
Hey, man, you ain't got to kill yourself just because you said the N-word. You ain't got
literally
700,000 views. This is like an old clip, isn't it? I thought this was about the recent stuff.
We're going to move on to our next guest here. Just give me a second, guys. Chris, I appreciate you for the $10 on PayPal, and GI, I appreciate you for the $5
Dude, ISIS is cutting people's heads off. China's building artificial islands. Dude, like 14-year-olds are being conscripted in Ukraine to like step on fucking landmines and get blown up. And here in America, you have how old is this guy, 20? You have white 20-year-olds that are on TikTok live weeping and bawling their eyes out because Bryce Hall posted their N-word moment on Fortnite. Like, seriously? In the Gaza Strip, they turn 13 and declare they're going to become a martyr in the war against Israel. You know, in Africa, they get conscripted into the Lord's army. They're like eating people. In Haiti, they're cannibalizing everybody. It's like you turn 12. Time to pick a warlord.
People.
What cannibal warlord are you going to work for? And this guy's got a heart necklace. He's got his heart necklace on. And he's on TikTok live. What you supposed to do, little man? What you supposed to do, man? You ain't gonna kill yourself because you said the N-word. You sorry. You said you sorry. You said you sorry. That's okay. What we all been, I crying too, man. And bro is like bawling his eyes out, sucking his teeth in. It's okay. Thank you for saying that.
It's a pretty good roast either way. All right, and then our last story, we've talked about this a little bit on Saturday. The guy who like was trying to get this fundraiser set up, he called in on Saturday and we talked about it. And I tweeted about this yesterday. This guy, Eric Brian Stone, time is it 12:30? He got this woman fired from her job because she said the N-word in a private DM to a black guy who was hitting on her. And turns out this woman is a widow. Her husband died a year ago on the job. He's like a power line guy. He died in a work accident, and she has 3 kids. So this widow with 3 kids, this rich guy with 1 million Instagram followers doxes her employer and gets her fired. And this is like this guy's whole existence. We've seen a couple of videos from this guy before. People said that he admitted to being Jewish. I haven't actually seen that, but that's what people said. He's married to a mulatto woman.
It's a mulatto.
And so here's that video, which you can also find linked on my Twitter. Fuck's sake. I hate Instagram because it's like you have to unmute, but the video starts playing.
And this white woman. And he wanted to ask her out. I don't know if you're a religious person, but just like Jesus turned water into wine, I'm trying to turn you into mine. Let's see how she responded. I'm not into N-words. Now, Kayla, was that really necessary? Oh, you find it funny. Well, I'm funny too, so get ready. I see you working here, Kayla. An ABA clinic that works with children that start at the age of 2. And your coworkers, I mean, they should be so proud of the words you use, right? And not to mention, the kids you take care of. Kayla, I got a trick for you. You ready? You ready for my magic trick? Life destruction in 3, 2, 1, go.
Leave her alone!
So he posts the phone numbers to her workplace, and he gleefully says life destruction in 3, 2, 1. So this is a widow who said the N-word in a DM to a random guy who contacted her with the corniest pickup line of all time. And then he's got like some other, what happened to my Instagram here? Hold on. He's got some other posts about it. Dude, I hate Instagram. Just an absolute fucking garbage website. So this is like a slideshow, right? Before, there's her message. I'm not into N-words. 184,000 likes, by the way. Nah, you are way too fine to be single, and you should give me a chance to change that. Respectfully, if you're not single, then forget what I said and carry on. I'm not into N-words. And he's like, oh, you didn't have to say that. And she just laughs at him. Oh, you think it's funny? The way this guy mugs for the camera. Oh, you think it's funny? 2.3 million views. Look at this face. Look at this shit. That's on the video where he talked about it, right? There's her job, employees. They're deleting comments. And she deleted her Facebook page, right? So she was getting harassed by his followers. She deletes her Facebook and her Instagram. And he's like, gotcha. Made you delete all your social media, got you fired from your job. Good luck with your 3 kids.
Shitting Wallifording sent $3 on Power Chat. This oil drilling homosexual must be completely and utterly destroyed.
Real. I don't know exactly how to do that, but hopefully this guy does have some kind of reckoning. And then another post where he posts her picture. He's laughing about it more. Board member statement, company statement, and she's fired from her job. So that's this guy. We set up a fundraiser. I tweeted about it to you. So you can, if you're looking for the link, you can find it on my X account. And we've raised about going on 5K. I feel good about it. I'm glad we can help her out. I donated $25 too. So if you guys want to donate to this single mom, but the good kind of single mom, she's a widow, you can do that. Shout out to Taxi Driver. He's the one who helped bring attention to this. He knows her IRL and helped get this all set up. So encourage you to help out if you can. It's the best way to say fuck you to a guy like this is to support his victims. Right? I would love for her to make like $1 million. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, but we can help. Every dollar helps. So I would encourage you guys to think about helping out if you can, please. And thank you. You can find that link again. It's pinned on my Twitter, or this video is pinned. And then the reply has the give, send, go. And that is going to be the show for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Appreciate you guys. Someone should pull up. Well, let's not, you know what? Let's not Fed post too hard. Again, the best way to get back at a guy like that is to just support his victims in a way that he would never, that would piss him off. If she made $1 million, that would be like the ultimate backfire. That would make me so happy. Hopefully we can at least hit 5 digits. That would be pretty good. That would be some real help. You know, if we make 10 grand, that's going to help a little bit while she looks for a job. All right. You guys have a good one. I will be back tomorrow morning with another show, gaming stream tonight. I will catch you on the flip side. Peace out.